In Brazil, left-wing candidate Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has won the presidential election in a stunning comeback. The former president saw off the far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro. In a divisive campaign, Lula won 50.9% of the vote. And with me now to talk about what all of this means for Brazil and internationally is our very own Jay Marquez. Jay, great to have you with us. What does this moment then mean for the country, for Brazil? And talk to me about the significance as well about the swing back to the left here.
It's absolutely huge for the country politically, Helena. Lula da Silva, as we all know, is a very famous politician, not just in Brazil but around the world, and is the only man who's managed to get into the high office 3 times now, with a very short margin this time around. But looking back at Lula's history, he has a very rich history in which he was accused of corruption multiple times. He was arrested for it. His cases were overturned by the Supreme Court, but nevertheless, it's huge. It's a huge moment because Brazil is not, some say, is not just choosing a leader, but it's choosing its own path going forward. Obviously, President Bolsonaro's time in office has been marked by a lot of dividedness and hate, to be fair. So it's an absolutely huge moment for Brazilians, not just in Brazil, but around the world, obviously. Vote in Brazil is compulsory, so it's interesting that 32 million people didn't show up to vote, even though it's compulsory. And that shows that for many people, none of the candidates represented a viable choice. And also there is some fear of violence in exercising your democratic right.
So now going forward then, we're going to be talking about waiting for that transfer of power. What can we expect?
Inauguration is on the 1st of January, so we've got exactly 2 months between now and the transfer of power. Traditionally, presidents, they hand over to each other. The outgoing president hands over a presidential sash to the incoming president. But it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to happen, because Bolsonaro and Lula, they don't look eye to eye. Even in the latest debates, they couldn't even stand next to each other. They don't look at each other. So that's going to be interesting to see with the ceremonial affairs that's meant to be taking place on the 1st of January. But in the next two months as well, it's going to be interesting to see how President Bolsonaro is going to react. There are hints that he wouldn't go easily. He hinted many times he didn't trust the electronic machines that we use in Brazil to vote. He attacked democratic institutions in Brazil, the Supreme Court, the Constitution itself. He's got some cases that he still has to answer to in attacking the Constitution itself. So next 2 months, very interesting.